The twin suns were setting over the alien world of Ravika, painting the sky in red and silver. The city below looked peaceful, but peace was a lie. On Ravika, peace always came from fear of the Elder Law. The Elder Law said one thing clearly: elder sisters own everything that belongs to the younger, including friends, gifts, and even lives. It was a strange law, but no one dared to question it. Until one human did. The rescue. His name was Ethan Cole, a traveler from Earth. His small ship had crashed near the city borders 2 days ago. He had been searching for metal parts to fix it when he heard the scream. A young alien girl, maybe 16 by human years, was trapped near a burning transport pod. Her silver skin was marked with dust and fire. The flames were closing in, and no one from the city dared to help, because helping her meant breaking another alien law. No outsider may touch a royal-born. Ethan didn't care. He ran through the fire, covered her with his jacket, and pulled her out. When she opened her eyes, she saw something strange. Kindness. "A thing rare on Ravika. My name is Lyra," she said weakly. "I'm Ethan," he replied. "You're safe now." But she wasn't. The elder sister, by saving Lyra, Ethan had unknowingly invited danger. Lyra was the younger daughter of Lady Vereen, one of the most powerful alien families in the Empire. Her elder sister, Sarah Vereen, was known for her cruelty and pride. When Sarah learned that her younger sister was saved by a human, her eyes turned cold. "He touched what is mine," she said, her voice like ice. "He must be claimed." According to Ravikan law, anything connected to the younger sister automatically belonged to the elder. That included Ethan. The capture Ethan didn't know this. He was repairing his ship when a squad of armored aliens surrounded him. Their leader raised a weapon that glowed blue. "Human Ethan Cole," the leader said. "You are property of Lady Sarah Vereen. Come quietly." Ethan froze. "Property? What are you talking about?" The leader didn't answer. He shot a pulse of light that sent Ethan collapsing. As darkness filled his eyes, the last thing he saw was Lyra running toward him, shouting, "Stop!" "He saved me," but her voice was lost under the sound of energy beams and engines. The alien palace. When Ethan woke up, he was in a bright chamber made of crystal and metal. Alien symbols glowed on the walls. In front of him stood Sarah Vereen, tall and graceful, with silver eyes and armor that shone like glass. "You are brave," she said slowly, walking around him like a predator. "But bravery does not change the law." Ethan tried to speak, but his throat was dry. "I saved your sister's life." Sarah smiled. "Yes, and for that you now belong to me." Her words cut through him like a blade. He looked around, no weapons, no tools, just cold beauty. "I don't belong to anyone," Ethan said firmly. Sarah stopped walking. Her eyes narrowed. "You will learn," she said softly. "On Ravika, the law is older than mercy." Lyra's plea. Meanwhile, Lyra tried to fight for him. She went to the council chamber, where alien elders sat in their high seats of power. "This is wrong," she shouted. "He saved me. He's not property." The elders shook their heads. "The elder law cannot be changed. Your sister owns all that belongs to you. The human's fate is sealed." Tears ran down Lyra's face. "Then I'll break the law too," she whispered. The secret message that night. Ethan sat in a small glass cell looking at the alien moon outside. He thought of home, of Earth, of the stars he once dreamed of exploring freely. A soft light blinked from the wall. It was a small hologram device. When he touched it, Lyra's face appeared. "I'm sorry," she said. "I can't change the law, but I can help you escape." Ethan's eyes widened. "You'd risk everything?" Lyra nodded. "You risked everything for me. Now it's my turn." Before the message faded, she said one more thing, something that made Ethan's heart race. "There's something you don't know, Ethan. The law isn't just about power. It's about a prophecy, and you're part of it." The screen went dark. The moonlight spilled through the crystal bars of Ethan's cell, painting silver lines across his face. He hadn't slept. Lyra's message kept echoing in his mind. A prophecy, and you're part of it. He didn't know what it meant, but he could feel that something far greater than him was now in motion. Outside his cell, 2 alien guards spoke in low tones, their glowing armor reflecting soft blue light. Their voices were calm, emotionless, like machines trained to obey. Ethan listened carefully, trying to pick up any word that could hint at an opening, an escape route, a weakness. One guard mentioned a transfer, Something about taking the human to the main city for classification. Whatever that meant, it didn't sound good. He had less than a day to escape. Then he saw it, a small flash of light under the door. A thin line of energy crawling across the floor. Ethan knelt. A message appeared in glowing alien script, and then it transformed into simple English. Follow the light. Trust no one but me, he smiled faintly. Lyra, he whispered. The energy line expanded, melting the cell lock without a sound. Ethan waited, watching the guards. One of them turned away for a moment. That was enough. He slipped out silently, barefoot on the cold metal floor. The corridor was vast and dim, stretching endlessly like a serpent. Every few seconds, lights pulsed along the walls as if the palace itself was breathing. Ethan followed the faint glow that guided him forward. It led him down a spiral staircase made of transparent crystal. He could see hundreds of floors below, tunnels, chambers, and strange alien creatures moving in silence. He had never seen technology so advanced yet so alive. Everything looked as if it had grown instead of being built. Halfway down, a whisper came from behind him. Ethan! He turned quickly, heart pounding. Lyra stepped from the shadows, wearing a dark cloak that hid her silver skin. Her eyes shimmered softly. You came, he said, relief washing over him. I had to, she whispered. Sarah plans to send you to the core tomorrow. Once you enter it, you'll never come out. The core? It's a place where outsiders are rewritten, she said, her voice shaking. Their memories, their identity, everything changes. You'd still be alive, but not you anymore. Ethan clenched his fists. Then we need to leave tonight. Lyra nodded. There's an old maintenance passage below the palace. It connects to the outer city, but we must pass through the archives first. That's where the law records are kept. There's something I need to show you before we run. They moved quietly through the lower halls where the air felt colder and the lights dimmer. Strange statues lined the walls, alien figures carved in stone, each with the same symbol glowing on their chests, a spiral around a star. As they entered the archives, the air buzzed with energy. Thousands of glowing data crystals floated in midair, each containing centuries of knowledge. Lyra walked straight to one, placed her hand on it, and whispered a code. The crystal opened like a flower, revealing text and images that danced in the air. This is the origin of the Elder Law, she said. It wasn't meant to control people. It was meant to protect something. Ethan frowned. Protect what? Lyra looked at him sadly. The prophecy says that one day a being not of Ravika, a human, will come and challenge the law. That human will decide if our people survive or fall. Sarah knows this. That's why she wants to own you. Ethan felt the weight of her words. She wants to control the prophecy. Yes, Lyra said softly. If she controls you, she controls the future. Before Ethan could speak, the ground trembled. Alarms began to echo through the palace, deep, throbbing sounds that shook the walls. The crystals flickered. Sarah's voice filled the room, cold and sharp. Lyra, I warned you not to defy me. Bring him back, or I will erase your bond forever. Lyra's face went pale. She's tracking us. Ethan grabbed her hand. Then we move. They ran through the dark halls as drones flew overhead, scanning the area with red beams. Ethan ducked behind a column, pulling Lyra close as a drone passed just inches above. His heart raced. He could hear the hum of weapons charging. Lyra pointed to a small tunnel ahead. That leads to the maintenance shaft. If we reach it, we can get outside. They sprinted. A drone spotted them and fired. Blue energy burst through the air, missing Ethan by a heartbeat. He dove forward, rolling into the tunnel as the blast scorched the wall behind them. The air smelled of smoke and electricity. Crawling through the narrow space, they finally reached an old metal hatch. Lyra pressed her hand against it, whispering a command. The hatch opened to reveal the dark sky and the distant lights of the city. Ethan looked out, breathing hard. We made it, Lyra shook her head. No, Sarah will send hunters after us. She'll never let you go. Ethan turned to her, determination in his eyes. Then let her come. I'm done running from her law. Lyra looked at him, her voice trembling. You don't understand, Ethan. Sarah isn't just my sister. She's not even fully Ravikan anymore. She's something else. Ethan stared at her. What do you mean? Before she could answer, the night sky exploded with light. A ship descending fast, glowing with Sarah's royal insignia. The ground shook as it landed. She's here, Lyra whispered. Ethan clenched his fists, standing tall against the wind. Then it's time the elder law met someone who doesn't kneel. And somewhere in the shadows, Sarah smiled. The hunt had begun. The night was alive with thunder. Dust swirled as Sarah's ship landed in the wastelands beyond the palace. The metallic sand glowed faintly under the twin moons, and the air trembled with strange energy. Ethan and Lyra crouched behind a ridge, watching the glowing craft open like a mechanical flower. A dozen armored figures stepped out, their weapons humming softly. And then came Sarah, graceful, deadly, her armor shining like liquid glass. Lyra's breath caught. She brought the royal hunters. They never fail. Ethan kept his eyes on the figures. Then tonight they'll learn how to. Lyra shook her head. You don't understand, Ethan. These aren't normal soldiers. They're bound to her through blood. They feel her thoughts. If she sees us, they see us too. Ethan glanced at her, puzzled. You're saying they're connected? Worse, she whispered. They share her will. The hunters fanned out, scanning the dark with glowing eyes. Sarah's voice, calm and commanding, echoed across the desert. The law has been broken. My sister hides what is mine. Bring me the human alive. Her words made the air feel heavier. Lyra trembled, not from fear of death, but from the power of her sister's voice. It carried something ancient, something not entirely alien. Ethan looked at her. You said Sarah isn't fully Ravikan. What did you mean? Lyra hesitated, watching the hunters move closer. She was born different. Our mother said she was touched by the stellar blood, an ancient force that once ruled Ravika before the law. Sarah has power no one else understands. She believes she's meant to restore the old rule. That's why she wants you. The prophecy says the one who joins with the outsider will awaken the Star Core. The Star Core? Ethan asked. It's the heart of our world, a living energy beneath Ravika. It decides who rules the stars. Ethan stared at her, the pieces slowly fitting together. So she wants me to activate it. Lyra nodded. And if she does, no one will stop her. They crawled down the ridge, moving through the shadowed valley. The wind howled, carrying whispers that almost sounded like voices. Ethan's heart pounded. Every few seconds, a beam of blue light swept across the ground, searching. They reached the ruins of an old tower half buried in the sand. The structure was ancient, its walls carved with strange symbols that glowed faintly when touched by moonlight. Lyra led him inside. The air smelled of dust and time. This place is older than the law, she said softly. Our ancestors called it the Temple of the First Flame. It might hide us for a while. Ethan touched the cold stone. Feels alive. It is, she replied. Everything built before the law was alive. Outside, Sarah walked slowly across the wasteland, her eyes half closed. She reached out with her mind, her voice echoing in the hunters' heads. Find them, I can feel his pulse. The human's fire burns bright. Ethan leaned against a cracked pillar, trying to calm his breathing. Lyra activated a small device on her wrist. A faint hologram appeared. Maps, energy lines, and strange runes. If we can reach the mountain ridge before sunrise, we can contact a friend of mine in the outer colonies. He can hide you off-world, Ethan shook his head. No, I'm not running anymore. You said Sarah wants me because of this prophecy. Then I need to know what it says about me. Lyra's eyes filled with worry. The prophecy says the outsider will bring balance to Ravika, or destroy it. That's why everyone fears it. Ethan smiled faintly. Balance or destruction. Sounds familiar. Suddenly the ground shuddered. A sharp sound pierced the night. A hunter's tracking drone had found them. The ancient temple's walls flared with red light as the drone sent a signal skyward. She knows. Lyra shouted. Ethan grabbed her hand and pulled her toward a hidden staircase descending into darkness. The drone followed, its red beam cutting through the shadows. Ethan threw a piece of metal toward it, and the machine spun to track the sound. He grabbed a loose power cell from the floor, tossed it, and the cell exploded, lighting the tunnel in blue fire. The drone shattered into pieces. They ran deeper until the tunnel opened into a huge underground chamber glowing with strange light. In the center was a massive crystal pulsing like a heartbeat. Lyra gasped. The first flame. It's still alive. Ethan stared at it, mesmerized. What is it? It's the source of the law, she whispered. When our ancestors made the Elder Law, they took energy from this flame. It keeps our world stable. Ethan stepped closer, feeling a strange pull. His chest felt warm, his pulse syncing with the crystal's rhythm. Lyra reached out. Don't touch it! But before she could stop him, Ethan's hand brushed the surface. The crystal flared bright white and visions flooded his mind. Cities burning, alien empires falling. Sarah standing before him with eyes like stars. A voice spoke inside his head, deep and ancient. The balance begins with the outsider. The law will break by his hand. Ethan staggered back, breathing hard. Lyra caught him. What did you see? He looked at her, his voice trembling. The prophecy. It's real. And Sarah isn't the only one chosen. So am I. Above them, the night sky split open with light as Sarah descended again, her voice echoing through the wind. Ethan Cole, the law claims you. You cannot escape what you are. Ethan wiped the dust from his face, eyes burning with new fire. Then she can come and try. The first flame pulsed once more, brighter this time as if it had chosen its side. And far above, Sarah smiled coldly, whispering to the stars, "Then let the prophecy begin." The storm began before dawn. The twin suns of Ravaka were still hidden, and the sky was painted with violet clouds that twisted like living shadows. Lightning tore through the heavens, bright and blue, lighting up the desert below. In the middle of that storm, Ethan and Lyra ran through the ruins toward the canyon edge. Behind them, Sarah's hunters moved like silver ghosts, silent, fast, and merciless. The air shimmered with heat and energy. Each flash of lightning seemed to respond to Sarah's command. She wasn't just chasing them. She was controlling the storm itself. Lyra looked up, her face pale. She's using the stellar blood. The storm listens to her. Ethan didn't stop running. Then we keep moving before it decides to listen harder. They reached the cliffside. Below was a vast canyon filled with floating rocks, each glowing faintly with energy. The air was alive with static. A narrow bridge stretched across, ancient and half-broken, made of crystal veins. Lyra hesitated. That bridge hasn't held weight in centuries. Ethan glanced behind them. The hunters were closing in, their eyes glowing red. Then let's make it the first time. He grabbed her hand and ran. The bridge creaked beneath them, glowing brighter with each step. Halfway across, lightning struck a nearby rock, shattering it into dust. Lyra screamed as part of the bridge collapsed behind them. Ethan pulled her forward just as the last section gave way. They jumped, landing hard on the opposite side. Ethan rolled onto his back, breathing hard. The storm roared above. "Well," he muttered, "we made it." Lyra didn't answer. She was staring into the distance at the enormous structure ahead. A tower, black and pulsing with blue light, rose from the canyon floor. It was not natural. It was alive, humming with power. "That's the Star Core's surface gate," she said softly. "If Sarah reaches it first, she'll merge with it. And then, no one can stop her." Ethan stood. "Then we make sure she doesn't." Behind them, a blinding light appeared. The hunters had found a way across. Sarah walked at the front, floating slightly above the ground, her eyes glowing like burning suns. Her voice echoed across the canyon. "You can't run from destiny, Ethan. The law is not your enemy, it's your creator." Ethan turned to face her. "You talk like a queen of chains. Maybe it's time someone broke them." Sarah smiled coldly. "And you think you can break what built the stars?" Lightning struck again, so close it made the ground tremble. Ethan shielded his eyes. Lyra grabbed his arm. "We need to move. There's an entrance below the tower." They slid down the canyon wall, using the rough stone for balance. When they reached the bottom, Ethan could feel the air vibrating. The Star Core was close. The walls around the base of the tower were covered in shifting symbols, like they were watching him. As they approached the entrance, a deep hum filled the air. The massive doorway opened by itself, glowing blue from within. Lyra's voice was barely a whisper. "It recognizes you." Ethan stared at her. "Why would it do that?" "Because," said another voice, smooth and sharp, "you were made for it." Sarah appeared at the top of the slope, her armor glowing brighter than ever. The hunters stopped behind her, forming a perfect circle. Her power made the air crackle. Ethan stepped forward. "You want me? Then come and take me." Sarah extended her hand and the ground erupted in light. The storm outside obeyed her call, lightning pouring through the opening and swirling around her like a crown. She floated down slowly, her feet never touching the ground. Lyra stepped between them, shouting, "He's not yours, Sarah. The prophecy doesn't belong to you." Sarah's expression softened, almost sad. "Little sister, you never understood. The law exists because of the prophecy. We were born to fulfill it. One of us must unite with the outsider. Only then will Ravaka ascend." Ethan frowned. "Unite? You mean control?" Sarah looked at him, her eyes burning. Control is survival. Ethan shook his head. No, it's fear. For a moment, silence filled the chamber. Then Sarah raised her hand and blue energy shot forward like a blade. Ethan dodged, rolling behind a fallen pillar. The blast scorched the stone where he had stood. Metal, and threw it toward her. It bounced harmlessly off her energy field. She smiled faintly. You think you can fight the law with scraps? Ethan grinned. Worked before. Lyra activated a small device on her wrist, releasing a burst of sound waves. The hunters froze, their armor flickering as the control link with Sarah weakened. Ethan used the moment to charge forward. He swung a metal rod toward her, and when it hit her shield, a surge of light exploded between them. For an instant, their minds connected. Ethan saw flashes of Sarah's memories. He saw her as a child, afraid, forced to carry the stellar blood that made her different. He saw her isolation, her hunger for power born from loneliness. When the vision faded, both of them staggered back. Sarah's voice trembled for the first time. You saw it? Ethan nodded. I saw everything. She looked at him with something close to pain. Then you know why I can't stop. Ethan stepped closer. You don't need to rule the stars to matter, Sarah. You just need to stop being afraid of losing. Her eyes softened, but only for a moment. I lost fear a long time ago. She lifted her hands. The tower began to glow, the entire canyon trembling. The star core was awakening. Lyra screamed, Ethan, if she merges with it, the world will burn. Ethan turned to the gate, energy swirling around it. The same ancient voice from before whispered in his mind, choose, outsider, balance or ruin. He looked at Sarah, then at Lyra, and then stepped toward the light. If destiny wants me, he said, then I'll write my own version of it. The light swallowed them all, and when it faded, only silence remained except for the slow, rising hum of the star core coming to life. Ethan awoke to silence. No storm, no wind, no screams, only the low, steady pulse of something vast and alive around him. The air shimmered like liquid light, soft and golden, stretching into an endless horizon. It was neither sky nor ground, but something in between, like standing inside a dream. He touched his chest and felt warmth, not pain. His wounds were gone. His body glowed faintly, veins filled with light instead of blood. Then he realized he wasn't in Ravika anymore. He was inside the star core. Lyra's voice echoed faintly somewhere far away. Ethan, can you hear me? He turned, searching, but she wasn't there. Only shifting light and strange echoes that sounded like whispers. Each whisper spoke fragments of memories. Sarah's voice as a child, Lyra laughing, his own name spoken by 1,000 unseen mouths. He took a step forward, and the light rippled beneath his feet. Images appeared, visions floating in the air like reflections in water. He saw Sarah kneeling before a council of glowing figures demanding power. He saw the creation of the Elder Law, the moment it was sealed into the hearts of every Ravikan, and then he saw himself, falling from the sky, his ship burning through the atmosphere of Ravika. He froze. The vision zoomed closer. It wasn't a random crash. A strange beam of light had pulled his ship in. Someone brought me here, he whispered. A deep, ancient voice answered from everywhere at once. You were chosen, Ethan Cole. The law was written for your arrival. He turned slowly, his heart pounding. Who are you? I am the core, the memory of the first light, the one who gave life to the Ravikans, and the one who can end it. The air vibrated with power. Ethan's breath caught. You made them? You made the law? The law was balanced, the voice said. But greed turned it into chains. Sarah seeks to control me. Lyra seeks to destroy me. And you, human. You must decide. Ethan's fist tightened. Why me? I'm not a god. I'm just a man who tried to save someone. The core pulsed brighter. That is why. You saved life without law. You acted from choice, not command. You are what Ravika has forgotten. The light around him began to twist, forming two paths ahead, one red, one blue. In the red path, Sarah stood before a galaxy of burning suns, her power absolute, her people kneeling. In the blue, Ravika glowed in peace, free of the Elder Law, but fractured, leaderless, uncertain. The voice whispered, choose. Serve Sarah and bring order through control, or break the law and bring freedom through chaos. Ethan stepped closer, staring at both paths. His mind spun with doubt. If I choose freedom, they might destroy themselves. If I choose control, they'll never be free. Before he could decide, a scream echoed through the core. Lyra's voice. "Ethan, don't listen to it." He turned and saw her appear out of the light, running toward him. Her body flickered, half transparent, like she was fading. "Lyra!" he shouted, running to her. "How are you here?" "I linked my mind through the flame," she said, her voice trembling. "Sarah's inside too. She's trying to merge with the core." The ground shook violently. Red cracks of light tore through the golden space. Sarah appeared, rising from the fissure like a goddess made of storm and fire. Her eyes burned like twin suns. "You can't stop it now," she said. "This is what destiny demands." Ethan faced her, the core's light swirling around him. "Destiny doesn't demand anything. People do." Sarah raised her hand and the air split apart. Bolts of red energy shot toward him, but the core's light formed a shield around his body. Each blast struck and dissolved into sparks. Lyra screamed, "She's forcing the merge. If she connects completely, she'll become the core itself." Ethan stepped forward. "Then I'll stop her." He reached out his hand and the core's energy flowed into him. The space around him shifted. He could feel everything. The air, the light, the pulse of life on Ravika. It was overwhelming. He could hear every thought of every being, every heartbeat of the planet. Sarah looked at him with fury. "You think you can control it?" "I'm not controlling it," Ethan said. "I'm listening." He closed his eyes, focusing on the sound of Lyra's voice, on the memory of why he had come here, not to rule, not to destroy, but to save. When he opened his eyes again, his body glowed with pure white light. The core responded, sending waves of energy that shattered Sarah's red aura. She screamed, falling to her knees. "No, I was meant to ascend." Ethan walked closer, the light radiating from him soft but unstoppable. "You still can, but not as a queen, as a sister." For a moment, Sarah looked up at him with tears in her eyes. The fire faded from her hands. "I don't know how to stop." Ethan reached out his hand. "Then let me help you." She hesitated, and took it. The core exploded in light. The red and blue paths merged into one, a golden wave that spread across Ravika, shaking mountains and turning night into day. The elder law shattered. Chains of energy broke in every city. The sky filled with new stars. When the light faded, Ethan found himself kneeling beside Lyra and Sarah. The storm was gone. The air was calm. Lyra smiled weakly. "You did it?" Ethan looked up at the glowing sky. "No," he said softly. "We did." But deep in the distance, the core still pulsed, slow and waiting. It had accepted his choice. Yet something told him it wasn't over. Because balance never stays still for long. The dawn that followed was unlike any Ravika had ever seen. The sky shimmered in gold and pale blue, and the twin suns rose in perfect harmony for the first time in centuries. Across the planet, cities once ruled by the elder law now glowed with new energy, free, uncertain, and alive. The people looked up, feeling the weight of the old world finally lift from their shoulders. But peace, Ethan soon learned, was never simple. He stood on the high cliffs overlooking the crystal sea. The wind carried the faint hum of the star core far below, its steady pulse echoing like a heartbeat beneath the planet's crust. Lyra stood beside him, her silver eyes filled with both relief and fear. Behind them, Sarah sat quietly on a rock, silent and distant, staring at her own reflection in the water. "They're free now," Ethan said softly. "You can feel it. Like the world's finally breathing again." Lyra nodded. "Yes, but freedom frightens those who've only known law." He glanced at her. "You think they'll turn against it?" "Some already have," she said. "The council cities are divided. Without the elder law, there's no rule, no order. Many still worship Sarah as their rightful ruler." Ethan looked at the older sister. She hadn't spoken since the merge ended. Her once glowing armor now looked dull, her eyes hollow. She had lost the power of the stellar blood, yet something deeper had replaced it. A shadow in her expression, quiet but heavy. He walked toward her. "You haven't said a word since we left the core." Sarah's voice was calm but strange. "When you touched the core, I felt everything you felt. Your thoughts, your pain, your hope. It burned through me like fire. I don't know what I am now without it." "You're still you," Ethan said. "That's enough." She looked up, meeting his eyes. "Is it? My whole life I was made to rule. I don't know how to simply be." Before Ethan could answer, the ground trembled beneath them. A low, distant roar rolled across the sea, deep and powerful like thunder underwater. Lyra's expression changed instantly. That sound? It's not the core, it's something else. They ran to the cliff's edge. The sea was boiling. Massive rings of light appeared across the horizon, spinning slowly like portals. The color wasn't natural, it wasn't Ravikan energy. It was colder, darker, and unfamiliar. Ethan frowned. That's not from this planet. Sarah stood, her voice tense. It's from beyond the veil, the outer colonies. What's out there? Ethan asked. Lyra turned to him, her face pale. Exiles. The ones who refused to follow the Elder Law when it was created. They were cast into the void and forbidden to return. They must have felt the law's fall. Sarah's eyes narrowed. And now they're coming back. The sky cracked open with light. Dozens of ships appeared, dark and sleek, built from black metal that shimmered with red markings. They descended slowly, forming a ring around Ravika's atmosphere. Ethan clenched his fists. They're not coming for peace. No, Sarah said. They're coming for vengeance. Within hours, the first wave hit. Energy storms erupted across the sky. City defenses, long dormant, flickered to life. Lyra's communicator buzzed with frantic voices. The northern spires are under attack. Unknown crafts, technology beyond anything we've seen. Ethan turned to Sarah. You know them? They're Ravikans, she said quietly. But changed. The exiles evolved in the darkness. They feed on the core's energy. Without the law, nothing stops them from returning. Lyra grabbed Ethan's arm. We have to warn the council. We need to unite the cities before they destroy everything. Ethan nodded. Then we'll fight together. Sarah stood, her gaze cold and unreadable. You don't understand. You freed them from control, but now they have no one to follow. The exiles will use that chaos. If we don't lead them, they'll destroy each other before the enemy even lands. Ethan met her eyes. Then lead them. Not as their owner, but as one of them. Sarah looked away. I don't know if they'll listen to me anymore. Lyra placed a hand on her sister's shoulder. Then make them. You once ruled through fear. Try ruling through hope this time. For the first time, Sarah smiled faintly. Hope is fragile, little sister. Ethan turned toward the horizon, watching as the first of the enemy ships began to descend through the clouds. So is glass, he said quietly, but it still reflects the light. The sky darkened as the exile fleet formed a massive ring above the planet. A voice deep and mechanical echoed through every communicator, every frequency. The law is broken. The balance is dead. Ravika belongs to the void. Lightning tore across the clouds as the invasion began. Ethan gritted his teeth. Looks like peace didn't last long. Sarah's armor glowed faintly again, the old power stirring somewhere deep inside her veins. It never does. Lyra looked at them both, fear in her voice but fire in her eyes. Then let's show them what freedom really means. As the first blast from the enemy fleet struck the surface, Ethan raised his arm, feeling the faint pulse of the core still inside him. The golden energy answered his call, swirling around his hand. The war for Ravika had begun. But this time, it wouldn't be fought for power. It would be fought for choice. And somewhere deep beneath the planet's surface, the star core awoke once more, its ancient voice whispering through the chaos. Balance can be broken, but it can always be rebuilt. The world burned silver under the light of war. From horizon to horizon, the skies above Ravika were torn apart by ships, dark, sleek, and alive with red energy. The exiles had come home, and they brought with them weapons forged in the void. Lightning streaked across the clouds as city after city fell into chaos. The air itself seemed to scream. Ethan stood on the walls of the capital citadel, watching fire rain down. His body glowed faintly, traces of the star core still alive inside him. Around him, Ravikan soldiers took their positions, frightened but determined. Behind them, the once proud banners of the Elder Law had been torn down and replaced by a single symbol, the spiral star of the new dawn. Lyra joined him, wearing light armor that shimmered in the rising sun. Her eyes glowed with courage, though fear still trembled beneath it. They've broken through the western shield, she said. Sarah's holding them back with the defense grid, but it won't last long. Ethan nodded. Then we'll have to make it last. He looked up at the sky. The enemy ships moved like predators, circling the planet's heart. He could feel their energy, cold, hungry, endless. They weren't just fighting for conquest. They wanted to drain the core itself, to feed on Ravika's life. Lyra saw his face tighten. What are you thinking? That if they get to the core, Ethan said quietly, it's over. For everyone. A sudden flash split the clouds. Sarah descended from the storm, her armor alive with white light. The stellar blood had returned, but it burned differently now, calmer, steadier. She landed beside them, her face hard but focused. The exile leader has arrived, she said. He calls himself Vorath of the Void. He claims to be the true heir of Ravika. Ethan frowned. And you've met him before? Sarah's gaze darkened. We all have. He was one of the firstborn, cast out when he refused the Elder Law. The Void twisted him. Now he carries something worse than the stellar blood. Lyra's eyes widened. What do you mean? Sarah looked toward the clouds where a massive black ship hovered like a god of shadows. He carries the dark pulse, a mirror to the star core. Before they could react, the ground trembled. A beam of red light shot down from the sky, hitting the far end of the city. Buildings crumbled like dust. The shockwave threw Ethan and Lyra backward. Sarah raised her arms, summoning a barrier of energy that shimmered like glass, barely holding the next blast. When the dust cleared, a figure floated in the air, tall, cloaked in black metal, with eyes like burning suns. Children of the light, Vorath's voice thundered, echoing through the atmosphere. You broke the law that bound your world. Now it will break you. Ethan stepped forward. The law was a cage. We just opened the door. Vorath tilted his head. You are the human, the one the prophecy spoke of. His tone carried both amusement and disdain. You should have stayed in the stars where you belonged. Ethan clenched his fists. Maybe, but I'm here now and I'm not leaving until this is over. Vorath extended his hand. The sky darkened instantly. Bolts of red lightning rained down, tearing through towers and ships alike. Sarah leapt into the air, her armor blazing, countering his attacks with waves of blue fire. Lyra sprinted toward the command center, shouting orders to coordinate the defense. Ethan felt the core calling within him, its pulse syncing with his heartbeat. He could sense every movement, every tremor of the planet. Ravika was alive, scared, and waiting for someone to lead. He raised his hands and golden light erupted from his palms. It spread across the city like a shield, blocking the next barrage. Vorath laughed, the sound deep and inhuman. So the core chose you. Then you will fall with it. He charged, the sky splitting with the force of his descent. Sarah met him midair, their energies colliding in a flash that lit up the entire horizon. The sound was deafening, 1,000 storms exploding at once. Ethan watched, powerless for a moment, as Sarah was thrown back, crashing through the citadel wall. She fell to the ground, motionless. Sarah, Lyra screamed, running toward her. Ethan turned, rage and light burning through him. You want the core? Then take it from me. The ground beneath him cracked as golden fire surrounded his body. The core's full power awakened, pouring through him like a living star. The very air bent around his form. Vorath's eyes widened slightly. Impossible. A human can't channel that. Guess I missed that rule too, Ethan growled. He launched himself upward, meeting Vorath in midair. Their clash tore through the clouds, gold and red light swirling in violent dance. Energy waves ripped across the sky. Ethan felt the core's voice in his mind again. Calm, ancient, endless. You cannot destroy darkness. You can only bring it balance, he understood. It wasn't about victory. It was about harmony. With every strike, he redirected Vorath's power instead of resisting it, absorbing the red lightning, transforming it into gold. The storm itself began to change, its color shifting from blood red to dawn white. Vorath roared, his body cracking under the light. You can't hold it forever. Ethan's voice echoed through the air, filled with strength not his own. I don't need forever, just long enough. He reached out, grabbed Vorath's chest, and unleashed the combined energy of both forces, light and dark, intertwined. The explosion lit up the entire planet. For a heartbeat, Ravika became a star. When the light faded, the sky was clear. The enemy ships fell silent, their power gone. The void energy dissolved into the air like smoke. Ethan floated back to the ground, exhausted but alive. Sarah and Lyra ran to him, both shaken and speechless. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. You did it. He's gone. Ethan smiled faintly. No, we did it. And maybe, so did he. Sarah looked toward the rising suns. What now? Ethan stared at the horizon.